God is a good God, and we are grateful to Him that we are still in the land of the living.
Amen.
And wherever you are, all across this beautiful land of Guyana, we want to welcome you, our friends in the Caribbean and further field. We want to say today that God loves you and He blesses you and He cares for you. So why not invite a friend and stay tuned as we welcome you to today's program. God bless you.
This evening we continue to discuss the topic being made free, and we want to say from the inception that being made free begins with the truth and an understanding of the truth. And it is important for us to recognize the truth cannot be hidden because of what it represents. Jesus is truth.
Yeah.
And he said, these are the words of Jesus, I am the way, the truth, and the life. No one comes to the Father but by me. Now, truth, as we could see it here from the Word of God, truth provides rest for our souls. So, if we are in a state of flux, if we are in a state of confusion, when truth comes, we will enjoy rest. We will enjoy peace. Truth also has the capacity to set you free. Jesus himself said, he who the Son sets free is free indeed. And so rest, and you could be set free. Truth has the ability to inspire us to do well, because it brings hope in a context where there is hopelessness. And so it would be remiss of us, of any one of us, to be in the presence of truth and deny truth or not accept truth. You know, we saw that in scripture where Pilate was asking a whole set of questions, and he was speaking to truth. He was speaking to the answer of life, but he could not recognize it. And so we are here today to encourage you to recognize this truth that is available so that we could live productive and progressive lives. Gentlemen.
It is not a denominational issue. Truth is not a function of the church one is a member of. Rather, truth, there is a direct correlation between truth and knowing the one who is truth himself, the embodiment of truth. And the last act of Pilate, when we consider him meeting truth, was him washing his hands. Years later, some historians posited that in a very famous, what we call a madhouse, there was a very prominent guest who did this his entire waking hours. They concluded that this man was the former governor who asked the question, what is truth? And who attempted to wash his hands. You cannot wash your hands from truth.
Yeah, right.
Wherever you are, there are people who are spending enormous sums of money to bury truth. You cannot bury truth. Keep your eyes on Turkey. Keep your eyes on the attempt to somehow prevent truth from emerging. We don't have to go so far, but that is just a sensational one we have now in our current world. But where you work, you are aware of truth, and you are aware of massive attempts to cover it. Why do I go to your workplace and leave your family out? There are very many families. There are things there that somebody in the family, you have full knowledge of what's going on, but you're hoping to bury the truth. You know, Matthew records these very powerful words in Matthew 11, I think, verse 28. I think about people who have to carry companies, who have to carry countries, who carry families, wives, mothers who have to carry the family, the burden of their family without the help of a father, the father of the children. And hear the truth saying, come unto me, all you who labor and are heavy laden, and I will give you rest. Your word, Reverend Austin, gave us the definition of truth, rest, peace. And he says, come unto me. You know, here Jesus in John says, everyone who is of the truth hears my voice. And again, this has nothing to do with religion. You could be in the marketplace and hear the voice of God. You remember Joseph? You remember his brothers were, the consensus was what? They will kill him.
Yeah.
And one said, don't let's do that. He sat and he was observing the whole plan. And then truth spoke to him. You remember there was a guy named Cain? What was his brother's name?
Yeah.
He was asked a question.
Yeah.
Where is your brother? And what he said?
Am I-
Truth. Truth grabbed his heart and he asked this very provocative question. Am I my brother's keeper? What was the answer? Brother's blood.
Right.
That's the truth.
Justice.
Your brother's blood is crying from the earth. And there are people who, you believe you've gotten away with some things, but truth is crying out. Truth is very important. It's nothing like an alternative truth. You have the truth and you have falsehood. You must determine where you're going in that regard.
I love the truth, Bishop, that you've described. That truth is like a seed. You know, sometimes you attempt to treat truth as if it is a dead structure, so you bury it. But every time you bury truth, truth seems to be planted, it somehow bursts forth and it blooms, it jumps into your face. So it makes no sense to tell you to bury it, because no matter what you do, truth always comes to the top.
You know, truth transcends. Truth grows. Truth consumes. And it's a waste of time to attempt to suppress truth. You know, we say the truth will find you out, you know. You know, we say that the truth will find you out. Because we know that in spite of man's attempt, over time, even if it's not immediate, over time, the truth will emerge. So, I mean, but I think because of deception and because people simply want to have their own way with things, they attempt to bring alternative facts, as it were, or they attempt to show or to display something other than the truth. And because oftentimes they find persons who might be gullible, people believe, but the truth doesn't need any attempt to defend it. The truth can stand by itself. So I think what people need to know is the fact that truth will remain truth in spite of your or our best effort to hide it. It will stand by itself.
You know, I want to encourage the professionals who are detectives. They work with the homicide department, I think in the CID, right?
Yeah.
I want to encourage those professionals. There's a time when you were not solving the major crimes. At least that's the perception that different ones give. And then that changed. And you started solving major crimes. I want you to know, we want you to know from the set of choices, that your greatest ally is truth.
Yes. Yes.
And once you find truth, once you familiarize yourself with truth, facts will appear to substantiate and to confirm your lead. Familiarize yourself with truth, and you will solve even greater problems. And they might send for you, throughout the region to help resolve some of the challenges. Truth is like wisdom. Wisdom is described as standing in the street and speaking to the ordinary man and screaming to the ordinary man, here I am, try me. Truth is doing the same thing. But we are so accustomed to avoiding truth. But I want to challenge teachers, deal with truth, so you'll be able to speak into the lives of those children. You know, you have them for how many hours a day, sir? How many hours a day?
5,
5 hours.
approximately 5.
Yeah, you have them for 5 hours with lessons.
Another 2.
I'm looking at you. Gentlemen, tell us how many hours a day?
5, yeah.
5 plus.
5 or what?
5, yeah.
About
5
2.
plus 5?
No, it might be 2 hours.
About 2.
Okay. And you can imagine, if you're familiar with truth, you can imbue those children with truth. And they will have the boldness to take on the world. Take on the world. They asked a young Guyanese who topped the Caribbean in science. When they congratulated them, I think the media contacted him. He said, I'm feeling pain in my body. And they asked him why. He said, I'm pinching myself. I'm pinching myself because I can't believe it. You know, there's something about, in another part of the world, children have a significant degree of belief, you know, in themselves, and they're going about a target, they're pursuing something. I'm happy for him, I'm happy for his parents, you know, I'm happy for him, I'm happy for this country that didn't believe it, but he did it.
Yes.
You know, that's the truth. And we want to challenge you, whoever you are, whether you live in the back dam area, or you live in the front dam area, or you live in the front dam, wherever you live. Let truth prevail.
And we have such a major responsibility to influence the next generation. You know, their minds are so impressionable, and we have this responsibility to pass the same truth on. Because they're so impressionable and they could be swayed one way or the other. I mean, how could you leave it up to a child to determine, you know, if he's male or female? You know, we have a responsibility to speak line upon line, precept upon precept, into the lives of these children, so that they can grow in the truth, understand the truth, and live the truth out, and then continue to pass on this wisdom.
The truth of the matter also is that truth comes with responsibility. When you know truth, you're responsible for making sure that it's not tainted in any way, but you hold fast to the truth. If you have a truth, you should be bold enough to release it, because truth cannot be hidden.
You know,
Whenever you release a truth, it maintains itself. You try to hide a false thing, you gotta keep hiding it all the time. But when you release a truth, that's it. Truth is sustained by truth.
The truth is revelatory. It reveals, you know, and I'm sure we're all familiar, there are people who would have done things, you know, a little while back and covering it up and so on, and sometimes you feel as though you get away and everything, you know, is okay, and then suddenly truth decides that he's going to show his head. So the truth cannot be hidden. The truth always finds a way to emerge, and so you could suppress it. There are people who suppress truth, but it cannot be hidden. It cannot be hidden. At some point in time, truth will emerge, and so that's why it has to be. We have to be very careful even how we conduct ourselves now. You know, the other day I was reflecting. Somebody, we were talking about Kavanaugh and you know, things that people would have done in the past, and believe people would have forgotten about it, and people remain quiet, and then suddenly, and so it is incumbent upon us at this stage to live lives that are truthful, because sometimes the truth comes back at some point in time to haunt us, and it might haunt us at a point when we are at a strategic position in our lives, and so it's important that we live for truth.
I know, I like the point you made, because I wanted to come back to a portion of scripture that you raised, the pastor raised in Matthew 11. And at the end of the line, it says, I will give you rest, which tells me that alternative facts torment. All right? If you really don't want to believe it, because you're being deceived that the alternative will somehow give you some measure of rest, but it torments your soul. You always have to be hiding, seeking for one cover to the next cover, to the next cover, to the next cover. But here the master of truth says, come and I will actually give you some rest.
But for the alternative, you always got to be looking for another alternative, another one, you know, you got to keep adding to it. Because, I mean, in your attempt to suppress the truth with a lie or falsehood, you have to keep working overtime. Because as one is uncovered, you have to look for another one and another one. But truth stands supreme.
It also hurts too. Truth pierces, you know, especially if you're living a lie and the truth is revealed, that truth hurts. But the knowledge of the truth also sets you free.
Yeah.
So even though you might want to, because people are trying to live alternative lifestyle, and the truth is in their face, and they don't want to accept that, but they cannot bury the truth. Because it's only that will set you free from the lifestyle that you're living.
Truth is, it reveals, it empowers, it sets free. I get the impression that truth works very close to forgiveness.
Yes.
Yes.
And it is liberating.
Yeah.
Truth is not destructive. There may be a period where there's a little crisis,
Right.
but you always have, truth presents opportunities to bring a way, show a way forward. I like how Jesus standing before Pilate, the governor. This couldn't have been an easy meeting, John 18. And he said to him, you and I have to understand this. It's a clash. This is an example of the clash that we have in our 21st century world. The world order, the principles and the morality and the morals of this world versus the principles of the kingdom. You say rightly that I'm a king. And then Jesus speaking, for this cause I was born. Was he asking Pilate, the governor, you know what was the reason you were born? You know why you were born? To become governor? He said, I have been born to do certain things. And for this cause I have come into the world, that I should bear witness to the truth. I am here to bear witness of the truth. Everything that you hear and you from me and of me, you see me do, is true.
Yeah.
That's why he said very many times, you have heard it said, but I say unto you the truth. Whatever I tell you, I was there in the very beginning. Therefore, what I will say to you is true. I bear witness to the truth. Everyone who is of the truth hears my voice. You might be in, people are shocked. They might be in a strange environment. Let's choose one. Strange, different religions gathered together in a group, and you make mention of the truth. And at the end of the session, people from a different religion come and say, I am in complete agreement with what you said.
Yeah, that's true.
I mean, you know what they're doing?
Validating the truth.
Yes.
Yes, sir.
As if truth needs anybody. You know? The whole thing is, they recognize truth.
Yeah.
Yes,
They
sir.
see it. And so truth is, it transcends even religion, you know. And if people can see truth, Jesus, if they can see truth, they will find their way to the Father. Because John 14:6. That is such, it's pregnant with truth and meaning. And many persons say, you know something, I love Jesus. But that statement, you know, I'm of this religion, I'm of that religion, I respect him. how could he say he's the only way? And for many, that is where they you know, they
March.
Knowing the truth will set us free. Knowing the truth is liberative. It's transformative. Truth will change the trajectory of our lives. And so we have to stay connected to truth, stay connected to Jesus, because he's the only way. And we want to encourage you to get into a relationship with him.
In Romans 3:4, not at all. Let God be true and every man a liar, as it is written.
You know, Pastor Semple, Reverend Semple, he brought a perspective earlier about our children, because even as we romance the idea of the value of truth as we live, we live in a world that sometimes we give the impression to our children that there is no truth, or truth is as you see it, or whatever you perceive to be, which to my mind, and as I'm bringing it back, it's so dangerous and destructive to the young, innocent mind, because the truth is truth. And you're going to discover in life, sometimes too late, that truth can't be changed. Truth will remain truth. And so I encourage us from home to teach our children.
You got me with a fundamental, one of the fundamentals of this whole argument, this conversation. You see, the Bible teaches creationism. The Bible teaches that there is a God. Now, you have other views, and these other views, they don't share, they don't embrace those principles. Because they don't share and they don't accept the truth of God's word. There's a departure, fundamental departure from truth. Every step, you know, if the first step is false, every succeeding step is false, however nice it might be. So the thing about it, we come right back. How some people can find it so easy to come down on one side of this gender argument, and they say, man, y'all don't understand this thing. People are born this way. The mere idea the folk could come down like that is they have thrown the teachings of truth out the window, and they've developed a set of alternative facts, or indeed we call it truth. So the whole idea is, even as Paul was speaking, he said, even though they did not want to retain God in their knowledge, God gave them up, Romans chapter 1, to reprobate mind, to do those things that are unseemly. You see, it comes right down to that. If you could say that there is no God, or I have a different God, well, that's it. There's a major departure from truth. And that's why Jesus stood in that secular palace, the governor's palace, and said to him, everyone who is of the truth, hears my voice. So you could be governor, sir. You might be aware of some things, but if you don't know him, you don't know truth. And that's it.
But if you don't know truth, sir, it will come back to bite you and then carry out a good chunk of flesh.
Truth is absolute. Truth is absolute. Truth cannot be mixed and cannot be limited.
Diluted.
Diluted is absolute. Maybe that's why when people drink, absolute. because it burns.
Yeah.
It cannot be mixed.
Yeah.
But the thing about this, because Bishop, you made mention about forgiveness and so on. And sometimes when you come face to face with truth and you accept truth, even if you might be living a lie, there's a release that comes with truth. And a freedom that comes with that. Look, I'm no longer in this direction anymore.
There was a gentleman who he got saved. A dramatic scene. The boat that he was in outside the Atlantic capsized. I think there were several others in the boat, and they lost their lives. All night he fought in the darkness, holding on to a fridge top, I think he said, and he had to fight with somebody to hold on to that fridge top. We can't judge people. And he, a sinner, he told me the kinds of things he was involved in. He said, I have no respect for life, no respect for God. But when day broke and I could see the waves coming, I said in that water, God, if you allow me to be rescued, I will serve you. And out of the blues, no sooner that prayer came out of his mouth, he saw a vessel just shoot up like that. Was the vessel there? Yes. It was a miracle. I mean, in the sense that God made a new vessel. The vessel was right there, but his faith. And the moment he said that, the vessel came, collected him. Here, Paul said. In Romans 1:24, therefore God gave them to uncleanness in the lust of their hearts, the dishonor of their bodies among themselves. Okay. This is the part I really want you to focus on. I want us to focus on. Who exchanged the truth of God for a lie? We actually concluded last week's program talking about an exchange. That man exchanged his life, criminal enterprise, the jaws of the Atlantic Ocean. They were yawning to swallow him. And faith came from the heart of a sinner. And he said, God, if you cause me to be rescued, I will serve you. And the boat rescued him. That's his testimony. How can you exchange truth for lie? This choices. God bless you. We'll see you next week.
We thank you for joining us on Choices today. Remember, you can join us at First Assembly, LNP Durban Street, Workmanville, Georgetown, Guyana, for any of our special services. I'm Celacia on behalf of the set, reminding you that your whole life is the sum of your choices. God bless you.